back on record after a tape change at 11:17 a.m.
Mr. Hobbs, you still understand you're under oath?
I do.
Right. Other than, Miss Nelson, other than the statement about you finding the bodies before the police did, other than that statement, do you believe that she is an honest person?
After that statement, you don't know what to believe about her.
Any other statements that she's made that you think are false?
I don't know. I don't know what all she's made.
Why do you think she's? I mean, I guess your testimony is she's making that up.
We talked, about whatever, but when it comes to that, that's fabricated.
Okay. So when you say you talked about whatever, you talked about the murders and the search and all that. I would assume that's something that you talked with your lady friend about. It's a big part of your life.
Okay.
I mean, is that fair?
That's fair.
All right. And when you were talking to your lady friend about it and whatnot, why do you think she's making it up?
You have to ask her that.
Well, that's I'm asking you.
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
Who's Marie Hicks?
That's Pam's mother.
You like her?
She was my mother-in-law for 17 years.
That's a loaded question, but do you like her?
I always tried to get along with her.
All right. You think she's an honest lady?
Oh, no.
Oh, no?
No, sir.
Why do you say that?
'Cause I've done been through that one.
What do you mean by that?
I've heard that woman lie on me like a dog.
What has she said about lying like a dog about you about?
In court up there in Blytheville.
I'm sorry?
On an ex parte. They tried to get an ex parte against my daughter, and they got up in front of that judge and told some of the biggest lies you ever heard.
That's about the allegations that you sexually abused Amanda?
All kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
Allegations of that, and drug abuse and drug addiction and alcoholic, and and I'm none of the above.
And was this in the divorce, or was this something else?
This was before the divorce.
Okay. So she got up and testified at court that you had used drugs.
Oh yeah.
And that's a lie.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And she testified
They was talking about he's a drug addict.
Okay.
He's not.
And you weren't a drug addict?
Never have been.
What's a drug addict? How do you define a drug addict, Terry?
Someone that uses drugs all the time, I guess.
All right.
I don't know.
And she testified that you abused alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Uh-huh. She did.
And she testified that you abused Amanda, right? Sexually abused Amanda.
Well, I'm not sure about that one, but I've heard it out of this family.
Well, there were formal allegations that you sexually abused your daughter, were there not?
I know that.
And they were brought to court?
I don't think they ever been brought to court.
Brought to court?
No.
Well, what do you recall the allegations that the family made against you about abusing your daughter?
What do I recall?
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of junk, garbage, bunch of stuff they sit around and make up just to have something to do.
And you never did that? You never abused your daughter?
No, sir, I never have.
Never did. Someone who
I
did
love
that,
my daughter. I love my son.
someone who did that, someone who is a child abuser, you would agree would have a pretty poor reputation in the community, would they not?
Action calls for legal conclusion.
Just in your opinion, would someone who is a child abuser, would they have a poor reputation in the community?
I would think.
Okay. And what about someone who is a drug addict? Would they have a bad reputation in the community, Mr. Hobbs?
I would think.
And someone who uses cocaine, would they have a bad reputation in the community?
You would think.
Okay. And someone who uses marijuana, would they have a bad reputation in the community?
Had to ask the community. I'm not
Well, I'm
sure.
asking you.
I don't know.
You think less of someone who uses drugs?
I try not to judge people.
Okay. What about someone who shot a brother-in-law with a .357 Magnum in the stomach. They have a bad reputation in the community?
No,
No? It's okay to go around shooting people in the stomach?
no.
No?
You don't know the circumstances.
Well, you shot your brother-in-law in the stomach with a .357, didn't you?
No, I did not.
Well, you shoot your brother-in-law in the stomach with a gun?
No.
He was never shot?
There was a gun discharged, and no one knew where it went. No one pointed a gun at anybody to shoot somebody with.
Let's back up here. Your brother-in-law was shot, right, in the stomach?
I'm not sure where.
Your brother-in-law was shot, though, right? With
He
a
was
handgun.
hit with a bullet.
And whose gun did the bullet come from?
Mine.
And who was holding the gun when it went off?
I was.
And the gun was loaded with hollow point bullets, right?
Correct.
And you were charged with criminal charges were brought against you, right?
And soon dropped.
You ever convicted at all on that?
No, sir.
No. What? We'll come back to that in a little bit, Mr. Hobbs. Who's Jackie Hicks?
Well, there was a senior and a junior.
Okay, what about? I'm talking about senior. I'm sorry.
That's Pam's dad.
What'd you
My
think?
ex-father-in-law.
What'd you think of him?
I respected him.
Honest, truthful fellow.
Pretty good man.
Pretty good man.
Hmm.
About Jackie Jr.
Boy. Big boy.
It's the guy you shot. That's the guy who got shot. You didn't shoot him. That's the guy that got shot.
Okay.
You know, I'm asking you. Is that the same fella
He
that
is.
magically got shot?
Okay. He is.
Okay. And he's dead now, right?
He is.
Died of drug overdose.
I'm not sure. They said, I think one time there was a blood clot in his lungs, and I heard of some drug. I don't know really exactly.
Okay. Who's Jolynn McCarthy? McCarthy? Who's Jolynn?
I don't know. I know of Jolynn, but I don't know her last name.
All right. Who's Jolynn?
Pam's sister.
You and Pam's sister, older sister, younger sister?
Younger.
You guys get along?
Probably not.
Why not?
She's caused a lot of problems in my home, and I didn't appreciate that.
How did she cause problems in your home, Mr. Hobbs?
Her drug usage.
So she used drugs.
Ask her.
I'm asking you. You said her drug usage. She used drugs?
She was feeding them to my wife, and I did not approve of that.
She feed them to you?
I tried it with them. I didn't like what they were doing, and I
What-
tried to run her off over that.
What drugs did you try from her or with her?
Her crystal.
Her crystal. So you did use crystal meth.
One time I have tried it.
Okay. I thought you said earlier you hadn't. I apologize.
Mm-mm.
Is she a truthful and honest person?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Not in my opinion.
She got it out for you?
She does.
Why?
She thinks I killed her brother.
That'd be Jackie Jr.
Correct.
When did Jackie die?
I'm not sure.
Did she have it out for you before?
She thinks I killed her nephew.
That'd be Stevie.
Yes, sir.
Why does she think you killed Stevie?
I don't know.
Well,
Have to ask her.
Why do you understand that she thinks you killed her nephew Stevie?
I don't know.
She's never told you why she thinks you killed Stevie?
Well, no.
I'm sorry?
No. I might have heard she thought I didn't like him or something, but you had to ask her.
Okay. Who's Judy Sadler?
Pam has a sister named Judy. I don't know her last name.
Younger sister, older sister?
Younger.
You like Judy?
I've tried to like them all.
They like you?
No.
Why? Do you understand why not?
They think I killed their brother.
Jackie Jr., they also think you killed Stevie, don't they?
They do. I've heard that.
In fact, they've been pretty vocal in the press about that, haven't they?
I've heard that.
I'm sorry?
I have heard that.
And they've been pretty vocal about it in the press for a couple of years, haven't they?
They have.
And you've had to defend yourself in the press and the media for a couple of years about the Hicks family thinking you killed Stevie, haven't you?
The Hicks and others.
The Hicks and others, for a couple of years, you've had to defend yourself about being the murderer or one of the murderers. Isn't that right?
I have.
And this DNA and everything that's come up in the last couple of years, that's just on top of it. That's just new proof or allegations about the same thing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, you have to
Yes.
answer out loud. You have to answer out loud, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
A lot of people has drugged my name into it over this.
And that's been that's been really since shortly after the convictions, right? The Paradise Lost 2 came out and raised all kinds of questions about who the right, who the murderers were.
None about me. None about me.
Well, when did you start to get in the press, sir, and having to defend yourself about allegations that you were the murderer or one of the murderers?
If I had said anything, it was within the past couple years.
Past couple years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Who's Paula Hicks? Another sister?
Pam's sister,
Younger or older?
younger.
Honest, you like honest blah blah blah. You like her? You like Paula?
I try to like them all.
Try to like them all. They like you? Does she like you?
No.
No? Because she thinks she killed Jackie Jr. and also Stevie, right?
I guess.
Well, I mean, that's what they've told you, right?
That's what I've heard.
And that's what they've told the press, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to answer out loud.
I don't know if Paula has said it to the press, but I've heard it amongst the family.
And you've heard it in the community, right?
Well, not really in the community. I've just heard it on TV, newspapers.
And that's over the last several years.
No,
No?
last couple years.
Last couple years. When you say couple, when do you
2.
mean?
I think this all started in '07.
When the DNA
That
results came out.
Exactly.
And at that point, everything just piled on top of one another, didn't it?
Yep.
Yep. David Jacoby, good friend of yours?
He still is.
You like him?
I always have.
Honest fellow?
He seems to be.
Truthful fellow?
Seems to be.
You have any reason to lie about?
Not on me,
Not on you?
and I don't know about anything else.
Okay. Have you talked to him about this lawsuit?
I probably have.
You promised him any money?
No.
No? You hadn't said, I'm going to give you some money when I get all this money from the Dixie Chicks?
Not one time.
Not one time.
No.
What about anybody from Pam's side of the family? You have promised anybody from Pam's side of the family a bunch of money?
No.
No?
No.
So if somebody testifies to that fact that you said that you would give them or their trusts or foundations money, they'd be lying.
I've told Pam over the years that I'd always wanted to see her do her mommy thing.
What do you mean mommy thing?
Well, it's an organization that we put together for Pam, that she really put together.
So you did tell Pam that,
No.
so you didn't tell Pam you'd give her any money for her
No.
foundation out of any
Told her
settlement that came out of it.
I've always told her in the past, I'd like to help you get this going.
That's not my question, Mr. Hobbs. My
The
question
answer
is,
is no.
you've never told Pam Hobbs you would give her or her foundation money from any settlement or judgment that came out of this.
Correct.
And if she testified otherwise, she'd be lying.
Correct.
You talked to David Jacoby about the allegations in this lawsuit?
Such as?
The fact you're suing the Dixie Chicks or Natalie Maines and what you're suing them over?
You can't help but read it in the paper and see it on the news.
Right. Because your attorney issued a press release right the day it was filed, right?
I'm not sure.
Well, you knew that, right?
Seemed like he did. He's sitting right there.
Well, I'm asking you. You knew he was going to file a press release the day it was filed, right?
No, I did not.
You didn't? You didn't talk about it?
No, I don't believe we did.
Okay. You talked to David about what his testimony will be if and when he's deposed?
No.
No. What about Bobby Jacoby?
That's David's wife.
Right. Like her? Nice lady?
I hadn't seen Bobby in 10 years, probably.
Honest lady?
I don't know.
Think she'd be truthful and honest about the events surrounding this lawsuit and the West Memphis
I don't
3
see
murders?
why not.
Okay. John Mark Byers. You don't like him much, do you?
I don't have nothing to do with him.
Not my question. Question is you don't like him much,
Can't
do you?
stand him.
Why?
For the stuff he did.
What'd he do?
A lot of things.
Tell me.
Get on Larry King Live. Call me a killer. Get on local TV and call me a killer. Get in the newspapers and call me a killer.
And you're not a killer, are you?
No, sir.
Okay. Where did you file the lawsuit against Mr. Byers?
Well, that's probably coming up in 2012 because I've never filed a lawsuit against Mr. Byers.
Well, why not?
He might be on the list, but we've never done that yet.
Okay. You talked to Mr. Byers? You said, John Mark, you got it wrong. I didn't do this?
No,
Why not?
because he knows better.
It was better to talk to you?
He knows that I didn't have nothing to do with this.
Why is he saying it then?
Ask him.
Oh man, why do you think he's saying it? If he knows you didn't have anything to do with it, why is he saying
I
it?
would think anybody that brings my name up in this manner has an issue upstairs.
I mean, a little crazy?
Something.
So I take it you don't think he was honest, and he's an honest and truthful fellow.
No, sir.
You think he was involved in the murders at all?
No.
No? There was a point in time when folks thought he did it, didn't it? Or was involved.
I don't know.
Did you ever question whether or not he was involved in the murders?
No.
No? Now you say that at some point folks thought he was involved. Why do you say that?
Because they were.
Well, how do you know that?
It
That
come up in the trials.
Came up in the trials. Came up after the trials too, didn't it?
Both places.
Came up in the
During the trials and after.
Came up in the
HBO documentary.
came up in some of the books too.
Right?
How many books have been written about these murders?
I'm not sure.
1, 2, 3, 4, half a dozen?
I'm not sure.
Have you read any of them?
Read some of The Devil's Knot, but no, I haven't read more than a piece of that book.
What part of The Devil's Knot did you read?
I don't know. Just starting at the front, read some of it and toss it in the trash.
You don't own it. You don't have any of the books. You don't own any of the books.
No.
Have you sued any of the publishers or authors of those books?
We put a stop to one during the trials that Commercial Appeal newspaper started. They were taking our story and they made a book about it. We put a stop to that.
Because they weren't authorized, right?
Correct.
They hadn't paid you for it.
It wasn't about the payment. It was about they done it the way they done it.
What do you mean by that?
We just asked them, sneaking around doing things wrong,
Such as?
doing it without your consent,
Okay.
taking your story and trying to capitalize on it.
They didn't have an agreement like the Dimension Films agreement.
Right.
You read The Blood of Innocence? You read that book?
No, I had.
You know when that book was published?
No, sir.
You read, you said The Devil's Knot. You read that.
Just a little bit of it.
When do you recall reading that?
I'm not sure when.
You recall how much you read?
Nope.
You know when this was published?
No.
Did you read the book The Last Pinnacle of the Sun?
No, I haven't.
You know when this was published?
No.
Did you read the book Almost Home, My Life Story by Damien Eccles?
No.
You know when it was published?
No, I don't.
You read any of the other books that are out there about this?
No, I haven't.
Okay. No interest?
Correct.
Can I have the stickers?
Yeah,
Yeah, just
just one or just a blank?
just the ones. Perfect. Thank you. Mr. Hobbs, let me hand you what's been marked as Deposition Exhibit 1, which is a deposition notice of you in this case, and ask if you've seen that document before.
Have you
before?
seen it?
Have you seen that document before, Mr. Hobbs?
I have.
You have? When did you first see it?
I believe.
See it yesterday when you were getting ready for your deposition? Is that one of the documents?
Oh, no, I don't think I've seen this one.
You hadn't seen this one before.
Well, hang on just a minute. Deposition, Exhibit 1. No, I don't think I've seen this one yet.
Okay. This is just a pleading that was forwarded to your counsel, setting up the deposition here today.
Okay.
But at the very bottom, you're asked to bring documents with you that have not previously been produced that are responsive to my client's first set of document requests or interrogatories. And my sole question to you, sir, did you bring any documents with you today?
No?
Okay. Do you know of any documents, Mr. Hobbs, that you have that are responsive to the discovery requests that have not been produced?
Objection calls for a legal conclusion.
Just asking if you know of any documents that you have related to this dispute that hadn't been produced.
No.
Would it be fair to say that every document that you have related to this dispute you've given to your lawyers and what they've done with it you still know?
When I do have, and they know about it, I just hadn't give it to them.
What's
A
that?
couple of police reports I've had to file here within the past couple months on people, and one of them's an intimidation report.
Who did you file the police reports against?
Some man from Australia come in threatening me with the Dixie Chicks.
What do you mean? What happened? Explain to me what
I
happened.
need to read the report.
Well, I'm asking you, sir, since you didn't bring the report.
Well, I don't recall exactly what it says, but you can get a copy of it and you can read it.
I'd like you to tell me what you recall happened that resulted in you filing a complaint against some Australian fellow.
The way they done it, come to our job posing as tourists, carrying cameras in their pockets, hidden, asking for permission to walk around and take pictures of a country-looking lumberyard. Got the permission. Once they singled me out and found me, started filming me and telling me the Dixie Chicks are going to get you, and we hear that you're going to get a piece of them. I asked the young man to leave the premises. I went down and filed a police report to this fact.
When did this happen?
A couple of months ago, maybe 2 or 3 months.
Did you recall the gentleman's name?
Stu. That's the only, he told everybody his name was Stu.
Okay. Did he leave when you asked him to leave?
There was 2 of them, and they eventually left, but not right then.
How long were they on the premises?
I'm not sure.
10 minutes? 15 minutes? 5 minutes?
Probably
Probably less.
15 or longer.
Okay. How long before you asked them to leave?
Once I figured out what they were up to.
And how long did that take?
Well, they'd walked around. They'd been there 10 minutes before they found me.
When they found you?
10 or 15 minutes before they found me.
Do you have any reason to believe that Miss Pazdar or the Dixie Chicks were behind that? Or is that just some, lack of better word, crazy
What
fellow?
happened. I don't know who's behind it. What happened.
Okay. And what have the police done to follow up on that? Anything?
I couldn't tell you.
Have you had any communications with the fellow since?
No, I think he took back off to Australia.
Have you seen him since?
No,
No. Who else witnessed this?
about 8 or 9 other people at work.
Okay. Are they all listed in the police report?
Sure.
Sure. Okay. All right. What other? You said a couple reports, or is that the only one?
There's another one.
All right. Tell me what happened there, Mr. Hobbs.
There was a investigator from New York out here investigating, and I don't really remember other than that when we tell him to leave, he calls me outside and says a bunch of stuff. He don't believe that the boys killed him. That's in prison. And he's telling me all this stuff, and I look at him, I said, I really don't care what you had to say. You convinced the judge, the jury, the prosecutor, the DA, and the investigators on this, and then you can come back and talk to me.
Was this someone who was a private, your understanding was a private citizen, or was this someone associated
A private investigator
I
hired
understand.
by Lori Davis.
hired by Lori Davis? Okay. What
Which is
happened?
Damien Eccles' wife.
Yes, sir. When did this happen?
After the stew incident,
Okay. And so this was within the last month or so?
last couple months, 2 or 3 months ago.
Okay. And do you know, has there been any follow-up with regard with the police on that?
I'm not sure.
Do you have any reason to believe the Dixie Chicks or Miss Pazdar were involved in that at all?
I don't know him.
I'm sorry?
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay. Any other reports?
No, not
Okay.
that I know of.
Okay. Who would ask for those reports, Cody? Let me hand you what's been marked as Exhibit 2, Mr. Hobbs, which is a copy of the lawsuit that you caused to be filed against Miss Pazdar and the Dixie Chicks, and ask if you've seen that document.
I have.
When was the first time you saw it?
When we sit down and put it together.
All right. And who's the we?
My attorneys
Cody?
and Mr. Ted.
I'm sorry?
Both of my attorneys.
Both of your attorneys. Did you look at drafts of it? Or was it presented to you, here it is, let's go? My question is, did you see drafts of it before it was filed? Sorry. You did not? You have to
Well, I've
answer.
seen it before it was filed.
All right. When you saw it, did you read through it, make sure it was true and correct?
I did.
Did you make any changes to it as it had been drafted?
I'm not. I don't think so.
You don't think so? Is everything in this complaint, to your knowledge, true and correct, sir?
Objection calls for a legal conclusion.
Just asking, to your knowledge, you aware of anything in here that's not right?
No.
Yeah. No? And so you stand by everything factually that's alleged in this complaint?
I do.
You do. And you authorized it to be filed?
I did.
And you were okay with your lawyer issuing a press release about the filing?
I wasn't aware of that, but I'm okay with it.
You're okay with it? All right. I'm going to go through a couple things in here, Mr. Hobbs. On paragraph 1, it says you're a resident of Memphis, Tennessee, and you've lived in Memphis, Tennessee for a number of years, have you not?
I have.
And you work in Memphis, Tennessee,
I have.
and your circle of friends are in Memphis, Tennessee.
Well, not only that, but there are some.
The majority of your friends are there.
Okay.
Is that right?
Okay.
Yeah. Is that
Yes,
All
I
right.
guess.
And any harm that would have been caused or suffered by you as a result of the things that are in the complaint would have you would have suffered in Tennessee, correct?
Objection calls for legal conclusion.
Still answer.
No, my name was spread all around Arkansas,
Mhm.
all around the country,
Mm-hmm.
all around the world
Mm-hmm.
by a group of, never mind,
By group of, I'm sorry,
never mind.
never mind. What's the group? Is that the West Memphis 3 website, and
It's everybody involved,
which would be the West Memphis 3 web,
even your client, sir.
even my client. Okay. But it would be the West Memphis 3, it'd be the internet, it would be
Where this
Glory,
was found.
it would be the,
Seemed like
the
this
defense
right here
team.
was found on the internet too.
right. And you read it, when you read it, you were in Tennessee, right?
Probably.
Yeah. All right. Why'd you sue in Arkansas?
My case originated in Arkansas,
How so?
the murders of our children.
So the case really evolves all the way back to the murders, correct?
It started in Arkansas.
And it's been continuous.
I've had attorneys tell me in Tennessee, your fight is in Arkansas, take it to Arkansas.
Who told you that?
Attorneys in Tennessee,
What attorneys?
I couldn't tell you.
When did
But
they
so
tell you?
I have done this
When did they tell you?
when I talked to them about it.
When?
So I don't know when. So I have done that. I've taken it back across the river to Arkansas, where I'm a native of.
Okay. And so, just so I understand, so your fight is in Arkansas because the murders were in Arkansas.
And everything else that's happened.
Is-
You know, your client coming to our state and bashing my name, throwing
All right.
my name around.
And that's the rally.
Yeah, part of it.
And when else has my client, Miss Pasdar, been to Arkansas and
Well-
bashed your name around?
Well, she done it there, and then she goes home and does it on her internet.
Okay, well, I'm talking about when she comes to Arkansas.
Okay, well, she did.
It's the rally.
Okay.
Is that's the only thing you're complaining about, right? About in Arkansas is the rally.
Objection. That calls for a legal conclusion.
No, it doesn't. Answer the question.
Sure it does. You can't cut off your liability for something that they did based on what he says.
I'm not talking about liability, Ted. I'm talking about the underlying facts that form the basis of the claim. The only facts in Arkansas that form the basis of the claim that touch the state of Arkansas is her appearance at the rally, right?
I'm not
Same
sure.
objection.
Right?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure. Well, other than the rally and the murders and the fact that the habeas corpus filings were made here in the state of Arkansas, what other contacts with the state of Arkansas arise out of your suit, sir? Can you think of
Objection
any?
calls for a legal conclusion.
Just asking for facts.
I'm not sure.
Okay. You're aware that the appeals of the West Memphis 3 are still ongoing, correct?
All right.
Okay. So when you say that in paragraph 11 of the complaint that they haven't been reversed on direct appeal, the appeals are still open and ongoing, correct?
Objection calls for a legal conclusion. He doesn't know what an appeal is, a direct appeal, or a habeas corpus is.
You can answer the question, Mr. Hobbs.
Well, I don't know if they're ongoing or not. Seemed like I thought they was over.
You thought they were over?
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
Because they just had their appeals, and they were all denied again.
Okay.
There's some point when you got to quit this.
Okay. You would agree with me. Are you aware that, if I could, sir, let me show you, make it a little easier here. I'll try to get through this a little faster here. In paragraph 12, you state that Damian Eccles has been unsuccessful in seeking a retrial based on what he has characterized as new DNA evidence believed to be sufficient to cast doubt on his conviction. What did you understand? What do you mean when you say that?
Objection. Quoting a pleading is not necessarily his statement. It's a statement made on his behalf. He's not required to parse legal documents for you.
Not asking him to parse. I'm just asking what he meant when he said that.
That's what parsing is. Just read it. You've got a little more education than him.
You can answer the question, Mr. Hobbs.
No, I'm not going to answer it
Why not?
because of my attorneys.
Well, you can answer
He
it.
hadn't
Answer it to the
instructed
best.
you not to answer.
Answer it to the best of your ability.
He'll tell you when, trust me, he's a good lawyer. He'll tell you when not to answer my questions. So my question is, what do you mean when you said that?
That he doesn't think that the evidence has anything to do with him, and it belongs to somebody else.
Well, you understand from all of the press and all of your dealings that none of the defendants, the West Memphis 3 defendants' DNA were found on any of the victims, were they?
Correct.
Correct. The only DNA that was found was DNA that has been publicly linked to you and or Mr. Jacoby. Isn't that right?
Objection like foundation.
Yeah.
Well, do you understand from reading the press and talking to the police?
No,
And,
the police has never told me that was your hair.
but they said it's linked to you. They can't
It said
exclude you,
it could
can
be
they?
one of.
Right, and the percentage of folks that would be matched is
And if it was my
Objection like
hair,
foundation
I'm
of
sorry?
personal knowledge.
if it was my hair,
right.
I raised that boy.
You raised Stevie,
I did.
right? And so, possible it's your hair, but it just got there because Stevie was in your house all the time, right?
Well, he lived with
He
me.
lived with you. Matter of fact, that's what Mr. Sampson said in the public, isn't it? Well, it could be his. I mean, we're not saying it's not because it could be transfer, and Stevie lived at the house all the time, right?
Mhm.
And you had to answer out loud,
Yes.
right? And you authorized Mr. Sampson. You said, Mr. Sampson, we need to get this message out. That's what we need to tell folks, right?
Right.
I mean, you've never publicly denied that it's your hair, have you?
I've never been convinced it was my hair.
Right.
And yes, I've had said I don't believe it was my hair.
Okay. And why do you say that?
Because I don't believe it was my hair.
Well,
If it was, I don't care.
you don't care if it was your hair because Stevie was at your house all the time.
He was my stepson.
Right. How do you explain Mr. Jacoby's DNA being found?
I don't have no explanation for that.
Objection to the characterization of it as his DNA.
How do you explain the DNA that's been connected with Mr. Jacoby being found at the crime scene?
I have no explanation.
Okay. Because Mr. Jacoby, at least as far as come out so far, was never at the crime scene, so his DNA could never get there, right?
I couldn't tell you.
Couldn't tell you. And you spent, we went over this a lot this morning, you spent a lot of time with Mr. Jacoby that day, right?
That afternoon and evening we did. And
Looking-
through the night.
Looking for the boys,
Yes, sir.
getting out of the car,
Mm-hmm.
walking around the woods.
We did.
Now, do you have an explanation for how the DNA that's been associated with you ended up not in Stevie's ligature but Michael Moore's ligature? I could understand perhaps innocent transfer if it was in Stevie's, if it was in the knots.
Have you ever
that tied
heard of
Stevie's.
secondary
Let me answer.
transfer?
Remember we talked about it earlier. Let me finish my question, then you get to
Okay.
answer.
Objection argumentative.
You
Ask
open
the
the
question,
door.
don't get in his face. Your
Ignorant.
menacing
I'm not
tone
asking. I'm not asking. I'm
will
not in
not
his
assist.
face. I'm just simply trying to say, can you explain to me, sir, how secondary transfer could get from you to the knots in the shoestrings that tied little Mikey Moore's hands and feet behind him.
Objection assumes facts not in evidence, because it assumes that the shoestrings on the boy were the shoestrings used to tie the boy, which has not been established.
So the shoestrings, you'll agree with me that the DNA that's been associated with you was found in the knot that tied the shoestrings of Michael Moore, correct?
Objection to the characterization of found in a knot
The ligature.
or a ligature. There's no proof
you
that
can
that's
add-
happened. So if you want to assume hypothetically that it was
You
in a
can
knot,
answer-
then you can react to your assumption.
Answer the question, Mr. Hobbs.
I'm not going to agree with you.
Well, I'm just asking you how you can explain how the DNA that's been associated with you was found in the ligature of the shoestrings that tied Michael Moore.
And I object on the basis of there's no foundation of this witness's personal knowledge as to where the hair was found.
You
Whose
can,
shoestring it was found.
you can answer the question, Mr. Moore. Can you explain it to the judge?
Mr. Hobbs.
I'm sorry, I apologize. I apologize very much. Mr. Hobbs, can you explain to the judge and jury how that happened?
No, I had no explanation for that.
Can you explain, and you can't explain to the judge and jury how the DNA associated with Mr. Jacoby was found at the crime scene?
No, I don't believe that.
Objection for the same basis.
Do you understand?
He doesn't have the factual, you haven't established
You
the
know what?
foundation.
You've made your objection. Objections to form, and let's be quiet and not coach the witness, okay?
I'm not coaching the witness.
Yeah, you are. Objected,
not.
you know, the rules say
If I was
objections to form.
coaching the witness, I'd say there was 7% of the
You know what? We're gonna
population
stop.
hasn't been excluded from
You know
Mr.
what?
Jacoby.
You wanna-
So one of us can't be excluded from
You
Mr.
want
Jacoby.
to keep going on this?
No, I don't.
Okay. Then follow the rules.
I'm
Thank you.
following the rules.
No, you're not.
And you're asking questions that he doesn't have a foundation of knowledge to answer them. He has no
In
personal knowledge.
paragraph 13, Mr. Hobbs, you say that the case involving the West Memphis Three has attracted national attention, focused on the sufficiency of the evidence used in achieving the convictions. What did you mean when you said attracted national attention?
Objection, you haven't established the fact that he said it.
He looked at the complaint, reviewed it, approved it, and authorized it to be filed. These are his words, these are his complaints against my client, and I think I'm entitled to understand what he meant when he said that the case has attracted national attention. So fine, if you want an
pleadings.
objection as to form, object as to form. Otherwise, let's be quiet and not coach the witness, or we're going to get on the phone and call the judge.
I have objected as to form
All right,
because
well
he's
then-
not required to parse legal terminology in pleadings.
You can answer the question, Mr. Hobbs.
All right, let's read the question again.
What did you mean in paragraph 13 when you said the case has attracted national attention?
Well, it has,
Why do you say that?
because it's drawn a lot of attention, and it really has. It's brought in HBO. It's brought in the Dixie Chicks. It's brought in other people out there who has doubts, you know, and that's their issues, not mine.
When did the case start to draw national attention? From the get-go?
Probably.
What celebrities are you aware of that have taken up the cause of the West Memphis Three, in addition to Miss Pasdar?
No, oh, I mean, I've heard of some. Johnny Depp, I've heard of his name. I've heard of Will Ferrell's name. And I'm not sure of, you know, how many others have, but you hear names from time to time. People see them wearing the Free the West Memphis 3 t-shirts, sweatshirts. You hear that.
There's bumper stickers on cars all over town.
Sure.
In fact, I saw one driving in this morning. Free the WM3.
They flew an airplane over Little Rock one time with a banner behind it.
You aware that the Pearl Jam lead singer's taken up the cause?
Heard of that?
Winona Ryder's taken up the cause?
Oh well.
Metallica has taken up the cause?
Oh well.
Oh well?
Oh well.
What do you mean by oh well?
I could care less.
Okay. But you would agree that it is a well-known and controversial issue, right?
In
Object
some
to the
people's
extent that
mind,
it calls for
And it
legal
has been a
conclusion.
well-known and controversial issue for a number of years. Matter of fact, from shortly after the convictions were announced, correct?
in some people's mind,
Right.
I think there was a jury of 12 people that seen through all the BS and give them what they deserved.
When did you first become aware of the letter that Ms. Pazdar posted on the website?
I don't have a date.
Do you, the letter is dated November the 26th, 2007. And my question to you, Mr. Hobbs, is how shortly after that time did you become aware of it?
I'm not sure.
Within a couple days, a couple weeks, a couple
I'm
months?
not sure. I've had a lot of people call me up and say, "Don't look. You ain't gonna believe this."
Who called you? Don't look about the letter or just about everything that's on the internet?
All the above,
Okay. Who called?
including your letter.
Who called? It's not my letter. Who? Ms. Pazdar's letter. Who called and told you about Ms. Pazdar's letter?
Family and friends.
Who?
Family,
What family?
brothers. I got 2 brothers,
Okay.
and they live on that internet.
Which? What are your brothers' names?
Mike and Joe Jr.
Okay. And where does Mike live?
Mountain Home, Arkansas.
Okay. You have an address for him?
I don't.
Telephone number?
I do.
What's his telephone number?
870. I had to look it up.
Okay. If I leave a blank in the deposition, will you agree to fill that in, that telephone number?
I doubt it, but I'll see what we can do.
All right. And how about your other brother? What's his name?
Joe Hobbs Jr.,
Okay. Where's Joe Hobbs Jr. live?
Hardy, Arkansas.
All right. You know what street he lives on?
No, I don't.
Know his telephone number?
Had to look it up.
And so one of your brothers called and told you about Ms. Pazdar's letter?
Probably both of them.
Both of them? And you don't recall when?
No,
What did they tell you about the letter?
don't look. You ain't gonna believe what this is saying about you.
Okay. And did you look anyway?
I had.
All right. When did you look?
I'm not sure.
Did you look? I mean, do you have the internet?
I've had it all for years.
Okay. And so did you look at the did you look at the website with the posting at sometime shortly after your brothers let you know about it?
Sure.
Sure. Nothing new in that letter other than it came from Ms. Pazdar, was there?
Object is to the extent that it requires a legal conclusion.
No new allegations in that letter other than the fact that who signed it, right?
Well, they didn't have to do that.
Well, that's not my question. My question is there was nothing new in the letter other than the fact that it came from Natalie Pazdar, right?
That's something that she didn't have to do, but she chose to do it.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that she didn't have to do it and that she chose
She
to write
took
the
my
letter.
name and run with it like the rest of them have.
Mr. Hobbs, can you answer my question, which is?
I don't care.
You don't care about answering my question?
I'm getting that way.
Okay. Well, we're going to keep asking it until I get an answer, which is there was nothing new in that letter that hadn't been said time and time again other than the fact that Ms. Pazdar signed it. Isn't that right?
Objection to the form of the question
fine.
because it assumes that
You know what? You just object
again
to form.
and again. No, I have to state the basis for my objection.
Only if I ask for it. Only if I ask for the basis. And I'm not. So my question, sir, is would you answer my question?
What was your question?
Can you read it back?
What did it start with?
You know what? I'll
I know
ask.
it was a while. I mean, I know it was a few back.
Yeah, a couple back, just that there was nothing new.
There was also a characterization of how many times that it had been previously stated that was different from the previous question.
You know what, if it's easier, I'll just ask it again. That's fine. Mr. Hobbs, you would agree with me that nothing in Ms. Pazdar's letter was new, other than the fact that it came from her, came from Natalie Maines. That's what made it new, isn't it?
Correct.
Correct. Everything else,
She got in our business when she shouldn't have.
everything else, all of the allegations, all of the statements, not allegations, all of the statements that are in there had been said many times in the press before, hadn't it?
Right?
Okay. And it had been said in the national press many times before, right?
Celebrities tend to draw a different crowd.
Okay. But my question is those same facts, those same statements had been made in the national press many times before,
Probably
had they not?
so.
Well, they had, hadn't they?
Probably so.
Probably so. And you had been having to deal with the effects of those statements for many months prior to the time Ms. Pazdar made her letter, had you not?
Okay?
Well, no. Is that a yes or
That's
no?
a yes.
It's a yes.
And what is she the type to, when someone's down, kick them down a little bit lower, put their foot on and smash them down?
Is that what you think she did?
Exactly. She can stay in Texas and mind her own business.
What else?
I don't have nothing else to say.
Nothing else to say? Okay. When you found out about the letter that was posted on the website, Ms. Pazdar's letter, what'd you do?
Got a little more mad about it.
Okay. Just because it's one more celebrity that's trying to get him a new trial.
Taking cheap shots at me.
What was a cheap shot? What in the letter? And then the letter's attached?
I read the letter.
All right. Well, I want you to point out.
Mentioning my name about anything.
I'm sorry?
Cheap shot. Mentioning my name about anything.
All right.
No matter if it's been done 1,000,000 times. Tell that woman mind her own business.
What else you want to say?
That's it.
Okay. How many times does your name appear in this letter?
I don't remember.
What in here's a cheap shot? What in exhibit, it's an exhibit A to your complaint. What in there's a cheap shot?
My name being in there at all.
So you don't think she had the right to bring your name or get involved in this debate?
Exactly.
Why didn't she have the right to get involved in the debate, Mr. Hobbs?
Who give her the right?
Objection calls for legal conclusion.
Do you have an understanding of the First Amendment?
Sure.
What is your understanding of the First Amendment of the Constitution?
Free speech.
Okay. What does that mean to you?
People can shoot off if they want to.
Okay. Was Ms. Pazdar exercising her First Amendment rights when she sent this letter?
Objection calls for legal conclusion.
Just asking I'm not asking for a legal opinion. I'm asking for your opinion. Was Ms. Pazdar exercising her First Amendment right to freedom of speech
Without merit.
without merit? But she was exercising her right.
Without merit.
She has the right to say that she thinks that they're entitled to a new trial. She can say that, can't she?
She can say anything she wants.
Okay.
But be sure you can back it up.
If she simply said, I think that the West Memphis Three are entitled to a new trial, is she entitled to say that?
Sure.
Objection calls for legal conclusion.
Do you think that she has done anything wrong to you if she says that?
Humiliation.
If she just says, I think the West Memphis Three got a raw deal and need a new trial, that's
I
humiliation
think
to
that's
you.
kind of wrong to say, but people shoot off stuff like that all the time.
I mean, that's been going on for 19, almost 18 years, hasn't it? Or not 18, it's 16 years.
Yeah, it's been going on a while.
16 years people have been saying they got a raw deal and they need a new trial.
They did. They have.
And there's nothing wrong with Ms. Hobbs advocating for people to donate money to the West Memphis 3 Fund, is there?
Sure.
Well, there is something wrong with that?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
I wouldn't think that you should do something like that.
You shouldn't say you can exercise your rights in rights in America and donate money to a cause that you believe in?
She don't believe in that cause.
Well, hold on. Why do you say that Ms. Pazdar doesn't believe in this
You
cause?
said Miss Hobbs.
I'm sorry. Did I say Ms. Hobbs?
You did.
I apologize. I meant Ms. Pazdar.
Well,
Can Ms. Pazdar, is there anything wrong with Ms. Pazdar? Well, there is no. Well, I guess Ms. Hobbs would be Amanda, right?
no, Pam's still a Hobbs.
Pam Hobbs. Well, Pam sure as heck thinks she did it, doesn't she?
Think who did what?
She thinks she killed Stevie.
She thinks who killed Stevie?
You.
No,
She doesn't think that?
no,
She doesn't think you were involved?
no.
And if she and if she testified to that fact, what would you say?
Pam, you know better than that.
And what if she says, yeah, I know you, Terry, and I think you did it?
She ain't gonna tell you that.
Really?
She ain't gonna tell somebody that.
What about if Amanda says that?
Amanda ain't gonna say something like that.
What about if Amanda's whole side of the family says that?
Pam's side,
I'm sorry, Pam's side.
they will say something like that.
And Mark Byers will say that, won't he?
Mhm.
And
He has.
a lot of people say that, won't they?
They have.
They have, and they've been saying that for well prior to the time that Ms. Pazdar posted her letter on the internet in November of '07, haven't they?
The louder the
My question about how loud, my question is, they've been saying it for a long time prior to Ms. Pazdar putting the letter on the internet. Right?
It has happened.
Right. And they've been saying that a long time prior to the rally on the courthouse steps in Arkansas, right? The State
It
House
has
steps.
happened.
Well, it has happened. It happened a long time prior to the rally on the...
Not with my name. My name come up the same year of the rally.
Right. And your name was never mentioned at the rally, was it?
I wasn't there.
Well, you sure as heck sued on it.
Well, she needs to stay in Texas.
She just needs to stay in Texas.
Mind her own business.
Mind her own business. That's not my question. My question is, your name was not mentioned one time at the rally in Arkansas, was it?
No, but read between the lines, sir.
Objection like a foundation.
What between the lines, Mr. Hobbs, about what was said at the rally?
I don't remember what was at the rally.
Oh, I got a transcript of the rally. You want to see it?
Nah, I don't.
Well, then tell me what was said at the rally, read
don't
between the
know.
lines, that you think causes you harm.
Objection like a foundation. Personal knowledge as to what happened at the rally.
He sued on it. Tell me about it. What was said at the rally that you're complaining about?
I wasn't there.
Well, you testified earlier that the rally is one of the two bases of the lawsuit, right? The letter and the rally. And what she said at the rally, you think caused you damage,
Read
and
it
you
to
want to
us.
humiliate her.
Read it to us.
I'll do
Mr.
better than-
Davidson, we have about 1 minute left.
All right, let's go off the record. Change tapes.
We are going off record for a tape change at 12:16 p.m.